All right, so we're back and ready to dive into some of the juiciest celebrity news stories of the week, straight from the Celeb Sour Show on YouTube. And this time it's a real doozy.
Yeah, lots of twists and turns on this one. Some pretty wild accusations and, a few head scratchers for sure.
Let's start with, well, Lil Wayne. He was noticeably absent from the Super Bowl halftime show, and there were lots of rumors going around that he might show up. But it turns out his reason for not being there is, well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, he gave this cryptic statement about red and green people and even mentioned Mars, which definitely left a lot of people confused.
I mean, it's not every day you hear a rapper talking about interplanetary color coding.
Right. His exact words were, and I quote, "We ain't racing now. We got red people out there. They got black. They got green people that here."
Green people.
Yeah, green people. The red people at where they at, they're kind of cooler than where the green folks at. It's a little warmer. So that's where my shorty from, that part of Mars.
Okay, so what does that even mean? Like, is he talking about aliens now?
Well, some folks are interpreting this as a comment on colorism and relating it back to the location of the green room at the Super Bowl.
Ah, I see. So the green people are the folks in the green room.
Hmm.
But why would he say they're from Mars?
It's definitely open to interpretation, but it's certainly sparked a lot of discussion.
Definitely cryptic, to say the least. Some fans were speculating that Kendrick Lamar, who headlined the show, might bring Lil Wayne out as a guest, but that didn't happen either.
Yeah, I saw that theory floating around too, but honestly, given their musical styles, it always seemed, I don't know, a little far-fetched to me.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, their vibes are pretty different.
Totally.
All right, let's move on to another rapper who's been making headlines, but for a much different reason. Blueface. He's gone through a pretty drastic transformation while incarcerated.
Yeah, there have been reports of significant weight gain, a bunch of new face tattoos, and, some concerns about his mental and physical well-being.
And the tattoos, well, some of them look, let's just say, not exactly professional quality.
Yeah, there were even rumors going around that he was being pressured or even forced into getting them.
Like some kind of jailhouse initiation thing?
It's a scary thought, but according to Whack 100, he said that Blueface, getting these tattoos voluntarily.
Okay. So that's good to know, at least.
Yeah, although it doesn't erase the concerns about, his overall state while he's in jail.
Definitely a tough situation.
Yeah.
And then there's Soulja Boy, whose reaction to all of this was, well, let's just say less than sensitive.
Yeah, his comment was pretty shocking, to be honest.
I mean, to actually say, I heard you in jail getting violated in the booty is just, wow. I mean, where's the empathy?
It's really disheartening to see someone react to a difficult situation with that kind of humor.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of difficult situations, let's turn our attention to Drake, who seems to be in the middle of some serious conflicts.
Yeah, he's got this alleged beef with Kendrick Lamar and then a whole legal battle brewing with his record label, Universal Music Group.
Yeah, talk about a multi-front war.
So on the Kendrick front, DJ Academics is claiming that Drake wants to physically fight him after, their lyrical back and forth.
Whoa, really? That seems a bit extreme.
Academics even said that Drake was ready to go to Compton to fight.
Wow, okay. I mean, we've all heard rappers talk tough, but I can't imagine that actually happening.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's real and what's just talk these days.
It is interesting, though, how Drake seems to be responding differently to these two conflicts.
Right. Like with Kendrick, it's this aggressive, almost street approach. But with Universal, it's all about legal action. He's accusing them of manipulating streaming numbers, maybe even boosting Kendrick's figures.
And potentially his own, too, right?
Exactly. It's a pretty serious accusation.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about potentially millions of dollars here.
For sure. And it's pretty ironic, considering that 50 Cent pointed out that Drake's numbers were probably inflated by Universal, too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So what's Drake's end game here? Is this like a calculated strategy, or is he just reacting impulsively?
That's the big question, right? Is he playing chess, or is this just checkers?
Well, his latest move is definitely raising some eyebrows. That picture he posted of Sophia Richie-Graw, the daughter-in-law of Universal Music Group's CEO, Lucian Grange.
And she just happens to be wearing Drake's OVO clothing line.
Yeah, it's a real head-scratcher.
So what do you think he's trying to say with this picture?
Honestly, I have no idea. Maybe it's a subliminal message to UMG, or maybe he's trying to, stir up some family drama with the Granges.
It's definitely open to interpretation.
Yeah, like maybe he's saying, hey, Lucian, look, I can influence your family.
Or maybe it's something totally different, like a way of showing he's, above the drama.
Right, like, I'm so powerful, I can even get my rival's family members to wear my clothes. It's wild.
It's like he's playing a game we haven't figured out the rules to yet.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. Okay, but before we spiral down this Drake rabbit hole too far, I want to acknowledge the Celeb Sour Show's shout-out segment. I mean, it's always great to see the positive community interactions and the support from viewers, like shout out to Crowning November, Doran is Blessed, and Young Rich Ninjas.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that there's still a real sense of community and connection, even amidst all the celebrity drama.
Absolutely.
And speaking of good vibes, we can't forget about Serena Williams.
Oh, yeah.
She made a surprise appearance at the Super Bowl and absolutely stole the show with her dance moves.
Seriously, she was amazing. She even called it the, best 10 seconds of her life.
Yeah.
I love that. And remember that little joke she made about running the entire field in 60 seconds?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
The most surprising thing, though, was that, the dance was a callback to her iconic Crip Walk after winning Olympic gold.
What? I had no idea. That is amazing.
I know, right?
It's great to see her still having so much fun and connecting with a totally different audience. She is such an icon.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here today, but we've only just scratched the surface of Drake's complex world. We'll be back in part 2 to delve even deeper into his strategies, his motivations, and the impact of his actions. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, so picking up where we left off, let's dig a little deeper into this whole Drake situation.
Yeah, it really seems like he's playing chess with his entire career, right?
Totally. And I think this whole beef with Universal, it's less about Kendrick and more about, the whole music industry itself.
Right, because he's accusing them of, manipulating streaming numbers, but isn't that kind of, hypocritical?
Yeah, exactly. Especially after 50 Cent's comments that Drake probably, benefited from similar tactics in the past.
So what is he really trying to do?
It makes you wonder, right? Is he genuinely concerned about fairness? Or is this just a way to, maybe renegotiate his contract, get more control over his music?
I mean, it's a pretty bold move to call out a problem that you might have been a part of.
Right. And we can't forget about the money. I mean, streaming is where the money is these days, and if someone's inflating numbers, well, somebody's pockets are getting lined unfairly.
True.
This could have a huge impact on UMG. If Drake can prove this manipulation, it could change how streaming royalties are calculated, how they're distributed.
So we're talking about, a potential shift in power within the industry.
Absolutely. It's almost like he's challenging the whole system. How do we measure success in the digital age?
That's deep.
And then there's that whole Sophia Richie-Graw picture, which, well, that just adds another layer of complexity to this whole thing.
Right, because it's hard to believe that was just a coincidence. I mean, she's literally related to the CEO of UMG.
Exactly. So is she a pawn in Drake's game, or, is there something more going on there?
Maybe he's trying to, apply pressure to Lucian Grange. Hey, look, I can influence your family.
It could be a power move, for sure. Personal relationships matter, even in business.
But it's also super risky, right?
Mm.
I mean, publicly involving her could backfire.
Yeah, totally. It could damage Drake's reputation, create all kinds of drama. And remember those Kendrick lyrics about people in Drake's circle whispering, "He deserves it."
Oh, wow, I didn't even think about that.
It's almost like he's fulfilling that prophecy.
It's all very Shakespearean.
Right.
Okay, but before we go full conspiracy theory, I want to touch on the Celeb Sour Show shout-out segment again.
Yeah, it's always nice to see some positivity, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it shows that even in this crazy world of celebrity, there's still room for, genuine support and community.
Absolutely.
And speaking of heartwarming, can we talk about Serena Williams at the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah, she was incredible.
I mean, who knew she had those moves? She even said it was the best 10 seconds of her life, and she was joking about running the whole field.
It was brilliant. She connected with a whole new audience, showed her personality,
And the dance was a callback to her Crip Walk after winning Olympic gold.
Wow, I totally missed that.
Right. It was this amazing way to reclaim that moment on such a huge stage. It just shows her power and influence.
She's an icon.
Okay, ready to dive back into the Drake saga. We've talked about the Kendrick beef, the Universal battle, but there's another piece to this puzzle, and that's, his relationships with women.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole other conversation.
I mean, Drake has a reputation, right? He's been linked to so many women, and it's always shrouded in mystery.
And it's fueled his music, too. He's always singing about heartbreak,
But is it all an act? Or is he really just a hopeless romantic?
That's what we need to figure out.
Let's start at the beginning. His first big romance was with Rihanna, right?
Yeah, they were on again, off again for years. It was definitely a roller coaster.
And their collaborations were huge, like Take Care and Work. Those were massive hits.
But it definitely took a toll on them personally.
But that relationship, it kind of set the stage for Drake's whole, like, bad boy image.
Right, and then there was J-Lo, Serena Williams, Bella Hadid. The list goes on and on.
And he always keeps us guessing, right? Yeah. Like, is he looking for love or just playing the field?
It's a good question. And his music plays into that too. All the heartbreak, the longing. It really resonates with his fans.
So are these relationships just another part of his game, another calculated move?
I mean, it's possible. We've seen how he leverages everything in his life.
But maybe there's a part of him that really is searching for something real.
Maybe he's trying to figure out how to be Drake, the superstar, and, just Drake, the guy.
And maybe that's why his relationships are so complicated.
The classic tortured artist trying to find love in a world that, well, it can be pretty superficial.
And that brings us back to Sophia Richie-Graff. Is this another example of Drake blurring the lines between his personal and professional life?
It's hard to say. It definitely got people talking.
Maybe he's sending a message. Or maybe he just likes to stir the pot.
He's definitely a master at keeping us on the edge of our seats.
So what's his end game? What's he really trying to accomplish?
I think he's playing the long game. He wants total control, creatively and financially.
So it's not just chess. He's trying to change the rules of the game.
Exactly. And we'll have to wait and see if he succeeds.
It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But before we get too caught up in all the drama, I think it's important to remember that, these are real people we're talking about.
That's a good point. It's easy to get lost in the gossip.
We have to remember that these stories have real-world consequences for the people involved.
Right. They're not just characters in some celebrity soap opera.
So let's try to be a little more mindful, Think about the impact on the people behind the headlines.
I agree.
And speaking of human moments, I wanted to bring it back to Serena Williams at the Super Bowl one more time.
Oh, yeah, that was so refreshing.
It was just pure joy, She was having so much fun.
It was a great reminder that even in this world of, curated images and PR stunts, there's still room for authenticity.
And the Crip Walk callback, that was brilliant. She owned her history, her identity.
It was powerful.
All right, ready to jump back into the Drake saga. We've covered his feuds, his business moves, but now let's talk about his relationships with women.
Okay, let's do it.
It's really interesting how Drake kind of weaves his personal life into his whole career strategy.
It's like he's constantly creating this evolving narrative, Keeps people hooked.
Right. Like it's all part of the Drake brand.
Yeah, but, I mean, is it genuine? Or is it all just calculated?
I bet his fans debate that all the time.
He's got to walk this fine line between, being mysterious but also relatable.
If he gets too calculated, it's like, is he even being real anymore?
Right. Like, are we seeing the real Drake or just a persona?
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
The mystery, the drama, it's all very captivating.
He's good at adapting, that's for sure. Keeps us guessing what he'll do next.
He's a master at pushing those boundaries.
It's almost like a social experiment, testing the limits of fame.
And we're all part of it, whether we realize it or not.
We listen to his music, we talk about him, we buy into the whole thing.
And he knows exactly how to manipulate that,
You know what I really liked from the Celeb Sour show, the shout-out segment?
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace.
Seeing how supportive those fans are, it's really cool.
Definitely. Reminds you there's good in the world, even with all this crazy celebrity stuff.
And speaking good, can we just talk about Serena Williams at the Super Bowl one last time?
She was amazing.
I mean, so much energy. She was really feeling herself.
So authentic, just pure joy.
And that dance, being a nod back to her Crip Walk, that was genius.
She really owned it.
It's like you can be at the top of your game and still find joy in just expressing yourself.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot. Lil Wayne, Blueface, Drake's strategies, and even Serena. What stood out the most for you?
Yeah. Take a minute and think about it. What did these stories make you think about? Fame. Influence.
It's all pretty fascinating when you really dive in.
And there's always more to the story.
So keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.